Election Day 2016. Polls are open now in many states as Americans choose a new president. Donald Trump rallied supporters in Raleigh, North Carolina, telling them in one of his final campaign appearances,
"It's time for real leadership and time for change. We have to have change." Can you imagine having Hillary for 4 years?
She can, and implored voters in North Carolina to give her a chance.
Bring out your friends, your roommates, strangers on the street. Just stop and talk to them about what's at stake in this election.
Political expert Jerry Schuster says one of them is going to have a very rough time of it, and the other one is going to lose the election.
Whoever wins this campaign will not have a presidential honeymoon, as is typically accorded the new president.
AP Update. I'm Rita Foley.
A woman in France claims her Samsung Galaxy J5 smartphone caught fire and exploded. The model's different from the Galaxy Note 7 that's been recalled worldwide. The woman told the AP that she noticed the phone was very hot after she asked her 4-year-old son to pass it over. She said she threw the phone away when she realized it had swollen up and smoke was coming out. Then she said the phone caught fire and the back blew off. Samsung recently recalled millions of its Galaxy Note 7 smartphones globally because of a problem that caused the batteries to overheat and catch fire. In this latest incident, the woman said she purchased the phone new last June on a website offering discounts. She said she will sue Samsung. Samsung hasn't responded to the claims. For the AP, I'm Sean Scott Ferguson from the Rivet World Desk.
An Iraq War veteran's been reunited with his German Shepherd PJ after the dog was stolen from his yard in Southern California last week. Police in LA said PJ was returned unharmed to his owner, Francisco Torres. Torres relied on PJ because of his struggles with PTSD. He was devastated. When those credits are used up, owners will have to pay fees. This means free charging won't apply to the $35,000 Model 3, which is supposed to enter production in the second half of 2017. Tesla says it'll release more information later this year about the fees, but it says charging will cost less than the price of filling a comparable gasoline car. It also says prices could fluctuate over time and vary by regional electricity costs.
Hi, I'm Dustin Lynch. You don't have to listen to country music to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you just can't control, like your girlfriend running out on you with your best friend. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and start moving towards a brighter future and even your college degree.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Update. I'm Carlotta Bradley. Both President and First Lady Obama are in Philadelphia rallying Hillary Clinton supporters. Michelle Obama took the stage after former President Bill Clinton spoke.
Thank you, Philadelphia. Look at you. Wow. What an amazing crowd. What an amazing night.
Then President Obama teed up the crowd for Hillary Clinton.
Philadelphia, you've got someone outstanding to vote for in Hillary Clinton.
Donald Trump is also campaigning in battleground states. The Republican presidential candidate was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Scranton, Pennsylvania, where he said he will work to restore wealth to American families.
We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And yes, we will make America great again.
AP Update. I'm Carlotta Bradley.
Stop the madness. Keep it 100. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100 with your hosts, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 with live call-ins, heated discussions about current events, politics, national news, weather, and sports. Join our live online chat room and let your opinion show. Download our phone app. Also, don't miss our pre-election day coverage. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100. Call us at 1-866-484-7865. That's 1-866-484-7865. STMK. Stop the madness. Keep it 100.
AP Update. I'm Tim McGuire. Hillary Clinton and her campaign continue to demand FBI Director James Comey make public the information from an investigation that led to his writing a letter to Congress about more emails that could be linked to the closed investigation into her use of a private email server. Her campaign manager, Robbie Mook, tells NBC's Meet the Press.
All we're asking for now is let's just get all the information out there on the table. There's hypotheticals flying all over the place.
Donald Trump's campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, on ABC's This Week, says it seems to her Comey felt compelled to write that letter to Congress.
This is him saying, do I sit on new information and thereby affect election results by not disclosing the fact that yet again Hillary Clinton and her top aide and confidant Huma Abedin are putting this nation and its security and its people at risk? And he decided that he would have to come forward.
AP Update, I'm Tim McGuire.
Wildlife populations around the world have fallen, with human activity to blame. Louise McRae, project manager and a lead researcher for the Living Planet Report, says global wildlife populations have fallen an average of 58% from 1970, but all is not lost.
It's important to know that these are not species being lost or even populations being lost. These are declines that can still be reversed. So we do have a chance, if we put the right things in place, that we can actually make a difference and start reversing this trend.
The report says deforestation, pollution, overfishing, and the illegal wildlife trade, together with climate change, are all contributing to the decline. Trevor Hutchins with the World Wildlife Fund says populations of vertebrate species could fall even more unless people commit to reversing damage to the climate.
We know the causes of this environmental decline. It's things like pollution, it's about overconsumption, it's about habitat destruction, it's about overuse of water, overfishing, and all of that is compounded by the effects of climate change.
One of the actions pushing the decline is the growing number of humans. The report predicts that by 2020, populations of vertebrate species could have fallen by 67% from 1970 levels unless action is taken to reverse the damaging impacts of human activity. For the AP, I'm Ron Brown with Rivet.
Eric Clapton's being sued by the estate of Mississippi blues musician Bo Carter. The Tennessean says a lawsuit filed in Nashville federal court says Clapton attributed the song Alberta to Hudie Ledbetter, better known as Leadbelly, in the 2013 re-release of his Unplugged album, but the credit should have gone to Carter. Miles Floyd, who's Carter's step-grandson, says Clapton's song was actually a cover of Carter's Corrine Corrina, which was first licensed in 1929 and over time became interchangeable with Alberta. The suit states Carter sometimes performed with his brothers as the Mississippi Sheiks, and they covered the song using Alberta, Alberta instead of Corrine Corrina and called it Alberta Blues. Versions of the song have been sung by many, including Dean Martin, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Willie Nelson. The suit says Leadbelly recorded a song called Alberta in 1940, but that song was not musically similar to the original Corrine Corrina. The lawsuit seeks $5 million and includes Clapton and Warner Music Group as defendants. As of Friday afternoon, the defendants had yet to respond to the lawsuit. For the AP, I'm Jennifer O'Neill with Rivet.
STMK Radio 100. You're listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 with your hosts, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100.
Yes, this is a PSA, a public street announcement. You are now listening to a Kickback production. Light up your L's, lean back, and listen.
our Election Day coverage tonight on Stop the Madness and Keep It 100. Today is November 8th, Courtney, and we're going to, by the time we get off the air at 8:30, we might have us a brand new president.
See who's it going to be this time.
Oh, we know who it's going to be. Hate can never win. Hate can never win. Today, talk about all the elections going on, the issues, local and national. And we're going to also talk about a little bit of history here. But before we get into what we was going to talk about today, before I went to vote, I started thinking about something. And I started thinking about my one vote and how I was not going to let anyone make that decision for me. And we went out and started doing interviews at the polls today, Courtney, and we started talking about the voter suppression laws. And we started checking with the courts because Donald Trump went back to court in attempt to sue the Democrats and have some polls closed. And he wanted some votes in Las Vegas pulled and not counted because under the state law and federal law, if you get in line prior to the polls closing, they must let you vote.
Right.
So the Republicans is calling that. When I was talking to people today, Courtney, one thing hit me. Everybody kept saying, my vote don't count. It's not going to make no difference. Well, I want to say this right here. And this is very, very personal to me because your vote do count. And if your vote didn't count, they wouldn't have spent millions of dollars in an attempt to stop you from voting. They wouldn't change the voting hours. They wouldn't take voting booths away. And we wouldn't be in court right now attempting to fight for your right to vote. Now, a lot of people have died for you to have that right to vote. And they all wasn't black neither, so this isn't a race thing and everything, okay? And we cannot let that pass. Right. So if you sitting at home right now and you thinking why you shouldn't go vote, or you don't like Hillary, or you don't like this or that, let me tell you something. Get up, get out there and walk in the rain and get to the polls. A lot of people have died. Remember the 1964 Freedom Summer or the Mississippi Summer Project, where volunteers came down from the north to register people to vote. And I want you to understand this, and I want you to think about this while you're sitting at home in your nice warm house waiting for the results to come. Over 2,000 people was arrested that summer. 80 of those people were from the north and white, and they was beat with rocks, chains, sticks, and had dogs set on them. In Mississippi alone, 37 churches were firebombed and set ablaze. 4 civil rights workers were killed in a car accident, and 4 of them were shot just for being down there attempting to help black people register to vote. At least 3 Mississippians were killed by police officers and members of the KKK. So we must understand one thing, that people lost their lives just to give you that right to vote, and also to give you the right to stand up and say that you want to be a part of the democracy. Because I'm going to give you a little history lesson here. Everybody think that in 1776, when our forefathers wrote the 15th Amendment of the Constitution, they was talking about people of color. But let me tell you something. They wasn't talking about people of color. So we're going to have to keep this 100. They are talking about Americans' rights to vote. People of color at that time was seen as property, okay? They didn't see you as a human being. They didn't see you as anything but property. So I want you to think about that while you're sitting at home talking about you're going to sit this election out. You need to get up. You need to get to the polls, and you need to show out. They attempted to stop Sow to the polls Sunday by cutting off the election when people of color go to church, and then they leave church and everybody goes to the polls. They attempted to block all that, okay? And today, when we was walking that line, talking to people who was standing in line and had a nice nice field thing. People begin to talk about that. Now, in 1890, I'll give y'all a little history lesson here.
History time.
After the Civil War and Reconstruction, okay, down south, Mississippians, okay, this is where it started at. They formed a group called the Ku Klux Klan and the Night Riders. When they became the Night Riders, their job was to stop people from voting. That's where our first voter suppression came from. When we talk about this, yesterday we talked about the people up in North Dakota, the Indians, and how their rights was being violated. And today that we're getting ready to go vote for a new president, we need to speak out nice and loud to let them know that we're not going to stand for any more people rights being violated because of their color or their heritage or the color of their skin or their religion. We're just not going to take it no more. Uh, if we don't stop it now, I hate to see what's going to happen, Courtney. You know, I talked to some guys there. There was guys from the militia group, which is backing Trump, stopping people going into polls with guns on them.
Right.
Okay, and that's very intimidating. Okay, but then you had the Black Panthers there, and they was getting ready to stand up to them. Okay,
Right.
so
Okay.
here it is. You got a guy with a shotgun who's backing Hillary and think that you're intimidating voters. You got a guy here that's backing Trump, and both of them got guns. That can be very dangerous. That's why schools were closed today. When we have to take our kids out of school and stop their education because adults cannot act like adults and have a disagreement or go to the polls to express their democracy and the differences, people, we got a problem. We got a big problem. Okay? And go back to what I was saying is that the 15th Amendment was originally after Reconstruction set for everybody to vote. President Lincoln did that so everybody can vote. And then they started with their voter suppression acts again, and the Night Riders came out and attempted to intimidate people. They came up with a poll tax, a literary test. They came out to stop people from voting. And when that didn't work, then they started threatening people, intimidating them for jobs,
Right.
loans, burning up their houses, and also coming back into churches and burning churches. Now, the Mississippi Project was started to launch with everybody. So we have to understand that this is a long-standing fight that's over 50 years old. And if you really want to go back into it, the long-standing fight is over 100 years old. So as I told the people that were standing in line, and when I talked to the group today, and I'm talking to you now, we're being simulcast over XM Radio, and I want everybody to know that nobody wants to die for something they believe in. They want to be treated with respect, and they want it to be done fairly, okay? But when we say somebody died for your right to go out and vote, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Somebody has lost their life. And let's go to roll call for that. As I told the school people today when we was in the meeting and we was rallying for the polls to get people out to vote, Reverend George Lee and Lamar Smith died and was killed by the Night Riders in 1955 for registering voters in Mississippi. Herbert Lee, 1961, were killed because he wanted to have everyone have the right to vote. And we're not talking about a race issue here, people. The people I'm naming, some of them are white, some of them are Indian, some of them are Jewish. People of all colors have stood up and went out to fight to stop this hatred and to give everybody the right to have their say so. 1963, Medgar Evers lost his life to give you the right to vote. December 15th, 1963, in Birmingham, Alabama, a man put a bomb in a church and killed 4 kids attending Sunday school because that was a registration place for people to vote. Edmé May Collins Denise McNair, Carlo Robertson, and Cynthia Wesley. They were no older than 7 years old. Those 4 kids were killed because somebody wanted to stop their right to go out and vote while they was in a church. And you want to sit at home talking about you don't like somebody or you don't want to do something, and little kids are dying to protect your right, and you want to sit at home and say, I don't want to get involved. And then you ask why your community is all messed up. Then you ask why this is happening, why there's a war on police officers, why Black Lives Matter exists. This is why. Because nobody in the community would stand up and take a lead and do something. It's time to stand up and get counted. And tonight is the time for you to stand up and walk out your door and go stand in that line and cast your vote. April 7th, 1964, Reverend Bruce Cundler. He was a white preacher who was killed right here in Cleveland, Ohio, okay, because he was protesting for people to have the right to vote and got ran over by a bulldozer right here in your hometown. So it's not down south, it's not out west, it's happening all over, and it has happened here in your own city. So we can't say, oh, it don't affect us, it's somewhere else. Yes, it affects you wherever you are. June 21st, 1964, Philadelphia, Mississippi. Okay, 3 young men came down and were killed and buried up under a dam. Okay, James Earl Cheney, Andrew Goodman, and Michael Henry Strober. Okay, they gave their lives so people could have the right to come and vote and issue their democracy. They didn't give their lives for anything else. They didn't give their lives for no rims. They didn't give their lives for no Jordans. They gave their lives so you can have the right to vote. White female. This isn't a color issue, people. And I want you to understand this. This is a human decency, respect issue. Everybody want to be respected and make sure that everybody has the right to sit their democracy, okay? Viola Letzero. She was a civil rights activist from the state of Michigan, and she went down to Mississippi, and she was killed by the white knights because she entered Mississippi to help register people to vote. January 10th, 1966, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Vernon Durham, a wealthy businessman who spent his money to pay the tax poll for people who couldn't pay the tax poll to vote, was executed by the white knights. April 4th, 1968, Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. Martin Luther King gave his life for you to have the right to stand up and cast your vote, stand up and be treated as a human being, and stand up to be judged not by the color of your skin, but by the contents of your character. Think about that while you're sitting at home talking about, I'm going to sit this one out because I don't like anybody. I don't want to do this. My vote don't make no choice. Think about that. We're being simulcast on XM Radio today. You can get us on our phone app. We're doing Facebook Live. We're doing Instagram, and we on Twitter. This is STMK Radio 100. Your host, Sean L. And I'm going to continue down the line right here, people. Okay? I'm not going to let anyone decide my faith, my future, or what's going on with my kids and my grandkids. They don't have that right. Okay? And I would not allow the people who before me stood up on that step and took that fight and lost their lives to give me the right to go to school, to give me the right to stand up in my community, give me the right to say what I want to say right now on the radio and simulcast pod. I would not let their job and their faith in me be lost. Everybody. And I mean everybody. I don't care if you're voting for Donald Trump. I don't care if you're voting for Hillary Clinton. I don't care if you're voting for one of the Green parties. I don't care if you don't vote the president election at all. We have local issues right here in Colga County. We got issue 32. Our community is already hurting. Even though we have fights between the police department and the community, our community is hurting. The police are out there doing their job. They need tools. They need things to work with. Are we going to say no on issue 32 and lay off more police officers than we already are in a situation? Okay, it's time for everybody to be heard. Get up, get out, and do your job and vote. Now, Courtney, we're going to go back over to the national issue because we got some news right here. As I said earlier, we went out to the polls, and what happened was a lot of people are voting today. I think we're going to have a historical election right here because you know this is going to be history. And, in the chat room right now, the chat room is fired up. I got a lot of people who's Donald Trump supporters, and they know that I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to go 100, okay? As you see right here.
Close race.
You see right here, I got George Bush sitting right here. You see that, Courtney?
Yep.
That's George Bush. I voted for George Bush because I thought George Bush would be a better president than Al Gore. So, I vote down the ticket. I vote for who I think is properly who's going to do the job and do it right. But in North Carolina tonight, the Durham County Board of Elections has requested extension by 90 minutes. As I said before, they're in court right now. Everybody's fighting back and forth. We shouldn't have to go to court to vote. And nobody should be going to court to stop me from voting.
Right.
If the polls stay open till 7 o'clock tomorrow morning or 7 days period, let everybody vote. One vote, okay? I don't mind ID. I'm going to tell you right now. Everybody get ID. The state should tell everybody, you got to come in here and get ID. We're going to pay for it. That way, it's going to be no ask about, do you have a birth certificate? Do you have IDs? I seen a 99-year-old lady today get up and go vote. 99, Courtney. 99. Okay? Standing in line voting. What you going to say about that? When you stand in line and you're 99 and you vote, and then you got somebody else talking about they're not going to vote. They're going to sit this one out. And if you set it out, I don't want to hear nobody complain. I'm going to say this right here. I'm going to tell you how it is.
Complain if you didn't get out there.
But, Courtney, that's what I'm telling you right now. I'm going to tell them all right now. If you do not go vote, I don't want to see you picketing one police officer on public. Don't even come out in the public. Stay where you're at in the club. Stay in the store getting your Jordans. If you don't go vote, don't complain about nothing else in life. Down in Florida, which is this is a critical state, 2 election clerks in Broward County, Florida, was fired Tuesday after doing something in the polls. So they're not playing. The judges is not playing in the polls right here.
Serious game.
So they had the sheriff remove them.
Very serious.
I talked about earlier when we first came on the air about the Trump camp going into court right now. They're in court right now. They have filed 2 lawsuits with the Nevada Voting Commission over a poll being left open past the time. They say, the Republicans say that if the poll is supposed to close at 7 o'clock, they want them closed at 7 o'clock. No matter whether you vote or not, they want you kicked out of line. Well, a federal judge has made a ruling, and they are attempting to get the appeals court for that section to overrule the ruling, but the federal judge says under federal dissent degrees in court, anyone who enter a line, whether it's 5 miles long or not, the last person at that line at 7 o'clock, they're supposed to go out and put a police officer or somebody there at the end of that line. And that person get to vote. Whether it takes 5 days for him to get up into the building, he gets to vote. They can't cut it off.
That's the way it should be.
So right now, we don't know the turnout about that. In the state of Ohio, the turnout has been robust. Everybody keeps saying that voting is down from 2012. But people, let me say this here, okay? Nobody expected, if you expected Hillary Clinton to get the robust of people coming out that they did for the first black president, come on, we're mistaking ourselves. We don't even vote like that, so don't even listen to that. But the voter turnout is very hefty right there. But Courtney, tell us what the Secretary of State of Ohio said it's going to happen today on election night.
Yeah, that one.
I think right there where he said how the polls going to close at 7, what we need to look at before they do the returns and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Beginning at 7 p.m. This is Eastern Standard Time, of course. Polls begin closing on the East Coast. And within hours, Americans could know who will be in charge of the U.S. House, Senate, and presidency.
You can go to STMK.
Like watching a sporting event, election night has its ebbs and flows for partisans. Here are things to look for during the evening. Some of the projections are at some point, each state will be given a projection by media networks. And I noticed a few on certain stations today, some of the news stations, they will have where the states are going to be popping up red or blue, depending on what's the majority.
Oh yeah,
and dealing with that electoral vote.
You know they got to go with that. You know that, Courtney.
Right.
You know they got to go with that, Courtney. You know that they got to make this has got to be a drawn out, long out thing, so we can do that until 3-4 o'clock in the morning. You know they're not giving up that rating on that one.
Because with that technology, it should be pretty quick. It's supposed to be quick. We'll see. Yeah. Every time something always seems to happen. Technology or not, they're going to find something in a dumpster somewhere, in the morning, something going to pop up. So, and it's supposed to be a close race.
Well, I don't even think it's going to be close. I tell everybody right now, talking today and looking at the map, I think we would know. Well, I know they're going to hold it back, but if you go to the web, there's only 2 states you need to look at. Okay, 2 states, and we would know.
Florida.
No. North Carolina.
Okay.
If Hillary takes North Carolina, it's a done deal.
All right.
It's a done deal. If she takes Florida, we know it's a done deal.
Okay.
But they're not going to give you the results of that until late. So we have to understand that. Go ahead, finish telling what the Secretary of State said, Courtney.
Yeah, because the projections are that were made when the polls close are based off exit polling showing a strong tendency for one candidate over the other. Projections made later in the evening are based off of actual results, coupled with the results, So the whole thing is all about, it's a thing where let's say if Trump was to win, he would have to make a giant comeback by attacking Clinton for her support of Obamacare and needing James Comey's FBI report to remind voters of Clinton's flaws and using a private email server, which now that's been turned around. Not only does Trump, sweep a slate of battleground states, he has to be able to, pluck a reliably blue state such as a Pennsylvania in a stunning comeback.
Well, the battleground states, they really market the battleground states right there, Courtney. We got Michigan now? Michigan ain't went red in 25 years?
Yeah, it's been a long, long time.
Everybody don't understand that Michigan has a lot of independent voters there. And the only reason that Hillary Clinton lost Michigan was because in that state, you can cross vote. It's an open primary. So first, the independents had their first true candidate in 100 years?
Yeah.
Okay, even though Bernie had to come and be a Democrat, he was still an independent, okay?
Right.
And you had Republicans coming over to taking their shot at Hillary also.
Right.
Okay, then you got North Carolina. You got Nevada. Let me tell you what the Democrats here, when I was talking
what's the
about
Nevada thing going on
Well, let me say this, Courtney. I was telling everybody about this earlier, if you just tuned in, about getting out the vote. When Donald Trump assaulted and kicked and talked about the Mexicans and the Latinos and all of them, they came out and made a statement that they wasn't going to take it, and they have the highest vote count they ever had and ever happened here in the United States. Florida, they're going to show Donald Trump hatred does not win.
Right.
And I'm going to say that. I'm not a Trump fan. I don't care who get mad at this, my chat board blowing up and everything. I am not a Trump fan, okay? I'm telling you right now. So if you came here to listen to me talk about Donald Trump, you at the wrong place, okay? Because we're not going to talk about Trump. I'm not a Trump fan. I don't believe hate does anything but hurt everybody in the end. And I do mean that, everybody in the end. But I'm going to say this, Courtney, about the battleground states. Again, it's Arizona, Ohio, Nevada, Florida. Everybody's down there. And even if Trump take all those battleground states, he still can lose.
Right.
He still can lose, okay? Because everybody don't understand this. This is not a popular vote contest, okay?
Electoral.
It's like college electoral vote. But to go to what I was talking about voting earlier, I got something I want to play for y'all. This has come back, and this was there. I was there live, and we're going to play this for you because I want you to hear this, because I want you sitting in the house right now. It is 6:26. You got 1 hour to walk around the corner to your polls and vote, and somebody going to say it a lot better than what I can.
They weren't registered voters. They were in Sunday school. One Sunday morning at the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, a man put dynamite in the church and killed those little girls to give us the right to vote. And here we are in 2016. Got a black president, a black attorney general, and some smooth-talking slickster comes along and tells you you need change, and I can bring you change, even though I wouldn't even rent you an apartment in my building, even though I told you to execute 5 of your sons who didn't commit a crime. I can hoodwink you because I told you don't listen to your history.
Okay, he said, don't listen to your history. Remember that he said somebody's telling you don't listen to your history. But I just gave you the history of all the people who have died here in the United States where we're supposed to have a free democracy. I just gave you the roll call. I want you to remember the names of the people that I gave you. That roll call should never, ever be forgotten. The Bible says that the gospel of the Bible said, good news to the poor, okay? For everybody who want to walk with their Bible. Good news to the poor means that the poor is the ones we should be looking out. The kids, the older people, our elderly, the people that cannot make it, the people that have nothing. That's what Jesus did. Jesus walked with the people of the streets. He didn't sit up in the booth and sit with the preachers and them. They couldn't do no help for him. He did his Father's business. We all must remember that. Okay? Jesus said he was about the business of his Father, and that's with his people. And I want everybody to remember that. And remember yesterday on the show, who did I tell you I was with, Courtney? I told you this one guy right here. Everybody want to burn his jerseys and get mad. Everybody want to burn his jerseys and get mad. But I'm going to tell you this, that I do stand with this one. I'm with her. I believe that Hillary Clinton is the best qualified candidate. I believe this, and I'm going to say this. She had some bad judgments. She made some mistakes. As you notice, not one thing they say she put American lives in jeopardy, but they won't release the emails and tell what she did. They won't put her on trial. The Constitution says that she has the right to go on trial and be tried by a jury of her peers, okay? So if she broke the law and she put my kid's life in danger, put her on trial, give me the evidence, and then let's put her up. Let's lock her up, okay? But if we're not going to put her on trial, we do not have the right under the Constitution to try her in public opinion, because if that's the case, guess what, Second Amendment people? I'm coming to your house tomorrow, and public opinion says I can take your guns, and you're going to give them up if that's the way we're going to do it, okay? Think about that. But this young man right here, they want to burn his jerseys because he said he was standing with her. But I want everybody to understand and listen to what he said. He said, as being a kid in an inner city growing up, he knows the struggle that his kids are going to face. That's what he said. As a kid growing in an inner city, he didn't step on nobody. He didn't call nobody out, okay? He's not like that. That's my job to call you out. That's my job sitting here being broadcast across the radio waves to say what I want to say, because that's my First Amendment right. Whether you like it or not, I have that First Amendment right. You want to put people on trial? I have that right to put you on trial right here. If that's the way the standard that we're going to put it right now, that you are guilty until you're proven innocent, okay, we're going to play that. I have a platform, and my community is going to get that platform. So either you agree with me or not, guess what? It's my First Amendment right. But I want you to listen to what this young man said last night, well, Sunday night, when we were standing there.
Here, and the reason why I'm here is the number one main reason
Let me start that over.
And the reason why I'm here is the number one main reason I'm here because of Hillary and what she believes in. I want people to understand. Now, I grew up in the inner city, and I know the whole notion of getting out and voting. And I was one of those kids, and I was around a community that was like, our vote doesn't matter. But it really does. It really, really does. We have to get out and make sure we vote. We have to get out and be knowledgeable about what's going on, about what we see that our future entails, and this woman right here has the brightest future for our world.
Page, you can, I'm sorry, people, while we simulcast, I'm going to Facebook for a minute to talk with them, so if you just give me 1 minute, I'll be right back. I'm on go down here, and I want you to listen to the president, what he also had to say when he was playing. Again, I'm sorry, you caught me right there, Courtney. There you go. Let's go back to the president right here.
Sometimes the temptation is to tune.
President Barack Obama.
And sometimes the temptation is to tune it out, and you want to just focus on the Cubs winning the World Series. Which, by the way, even for a White Sox fan, is a pretty big deal. Because and sometimes the temptation is to tune it out, and you want to just...
Now, what he said there, Courtney, sometimes the temptation is to tune it out, okay, and not pay attention to what's going on right here. But this is something else that we have to ask ourselves. We didn't give our president nobody to work with, so are we willing to give up everything and just wipe him off the books? I never heard that before. A president of the United States being treated the way him and his family been treated. Think about what his kids had to go through, sitting there listening to people call their parents monkeys and going to kill Americans. How you're going to deal with that? Come on, America, let's be fair here, okay? We talking about kids. How would you like for me to be in school with your kids if you're a police officer or a doctor and tell them that you're killing people and that you don't like people? We got to think about what people say, and we got to think about what we say. And I think it's an insult to President Obama if you allow Donald Trump to take his spot. I'm going to say it. I think it's an insult if you allow Donald Trump to take his spot. And I want you to listen to what he got to say about it.
When your party's nominee for president was kissing up to Vladimir Putin, the former KGB officer. You used to criticize me for even talking to the Russians. Now suddenly you're okay with your nominee having a bromance with Putin. Were you when your
So you upset right now that just think about what would happen if Barack Obama did any of that, okay? So we're going to get back to the battleground states right here on those two videos that we just played. Going into that, it's 6:30. We're not going to go to break, Courtney. So just set the studio speakers just a little bit so Facebook Live can hear what we're talking about because they can't pick up the audio. So just turn everything down. All right, there we go. We're going to set speakers up for you, Facebook Live, so you can hear what we're talking about also. Hillary Clinton holds the upper Midwest. And while the changing graphics and dynamics of the people that's voting, Colorado, again, is another one of those states, and Virginia, that may send her to victory even if she lose all of her battleground states. And there's a lot of races before you even get to the polls. It's 6:30. You got 1 hour to get out your house, as I said, and get to the polls. Let's do something for Hillary that we failed to do for our first black president. Let's send her to Washington with people she can work with. Donald Trump was right when he said one thing. And that one thing what Donald Trump said, let's clean the swamps. Okay? Let's do that. Let's clean the swamps. Drain it, send them all home on vacation. I think that we should write in a law for term limits. Get rid of all of them. I agree with him on that. Get rid of them all. They talk about what's going to happen if Donald Trump makes get elected president. Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if Donald Trump get elected president, Courtney. And this is for everybody to understand. So let me tell you what's going to happen if Donald Trump make president. And I'm glad everybody on Facebook. So if you have not voted, get off Facebook. If you ain't voted yet, get off Facebook and get to the voting place. You can watch me later. I need you to vote. I need you to go to the polls and show out, okay? Because we're going to show out tonight. We're going to stand up as a people, and we all going to say that we are not going to take any hate. I want all Americans to stand up and say we're not going back down that road. Hate has no place in our life. Donald Trump make president, Courtney, that we have people talking about taking away people's health care. This is what's getting ready to happen. This is the real issue. This is what's going to affect you. If you don't vote your judges, if you don't vote your senators, and if you don't vote president, okay? The first thing you're going to lose is the United States Supreme Court. If you have a child, 6 months right now, 6 months, he will live up under Trump's Supreme Court for 80 years, people. This is a lifetime appointment. There is no do-over, okay? If you don't like Hillary, in 4 years, we can vote her out and get somebody like Bernie Sanders, okay? And set things right the way we supposed to have it. But at this point, this is ball game. This is checkmate. If Donald Trump make president, there is no do-over, okay? Your kids will live up under his Supreme Court for 80 years. 80. Make no mistake about it. That's the first thing you have to lose. So I'm going to answer Mr. Trump's question like I did today when I was going around the voting polls. What do you have to lose? Well, this is what you got to lose if you vote for Trump. Okay? The real issue. We have 14.7 million poor kids that have no food to eat and no clothes to put on their back to wear to school, and they sitting in substandard schools. Okay, something that you didn't hear in the debates, and I'm going to play the debates back for you. We're going to hit that. And something you didn't hear on CNN, something you didn't hear Fox News. If you watch Fox News, I know you ain't listening to me because I'm not in that bubble, and we're going to keep it real, and then you can Google everything, okay? It's that 14.7 million kids. Now, that's not black kids, okay? You only have about 1 million black kids. People who receive public assistance is not all black or people of colors, okay? Everybody receive it, okay? What about the Appalachians? Have you ever seen CNN and everybody, when they talk about somebody, they make it look like it's the black community or people of color? No. What about the Appalachians, West Virginia? I can go on down the line. There's thousands, okay? This isn't a color issue. It's a people issue. It's a humanity issue. So let's start calling it what it is. It's a humanity issue. That's what's going to happen when they cut aid. Republican governors and legislators have already cut aids to major cities. People say, well, why Democrats running the cities and they're going down? You know why they're going down? Because all the federal money and state money is being cut at the top. If the money's being cut at the top, it can't come to the bottom, okay? And we're going to talk about issue 32 right here in Cleveland. Once again, for the fourth time in less than 10 years, the city of Cleveland is facing a layoff of police officers, okay? Nobody want to talk about it. Your union don't want to talk about it, and everybody else think it's not going to happen. But we're going to get to that later on when I go back through there. So we're going to stay on the national scene for right now. 54% of Black America. Now, we're just talking about 54% of Black America, okay, makes less than a minimum wage. Now, if that's 54% of Black America, guess what, people? Let's go back over. 62% of white America makes less than minimum wage, okay? So don't think this is a color issue. It's not. We got people talking about appealing to health care that would affect 20 million people, okay? 20 million. But only 3 million of them are Black Americans, okay? So if 20 million people going to be affected, that's 17 million other people. And let's get this correct. These are people who needs the health care, elderly, kids, people that don't have a job, that are on the verge of just barely making paycheck to paycheck, okay? Just trying to keep their families together, Courtney. You understand what I'm talking about right here? Okay, this is people of all across the color right here, okay? Half your health care, if you work for a living and you work for Cleveland or Ford, you don't have to worry about this because half of your health care comes from your employer, okay? You're only paying $75 a month. There's some people out there that wish they could pay $75 a month. So if you're working for the city of Cleveland or the state of Ohio or the federal government, you got a good deal. You shouldn't be yelling about Obamacare or Rodney Care or Hillary Care. I don't care what name you want to put on it. You shouldn't be yelling about it. You're only paying $75 a month. Guess what? There's people paying close to $1,000 a month in healthcare benefits that does not have that benefit that you have. So think about that if you're working. And what we're really going to have to deal with in the inner cities and everything is that we have to get together as one. Now, Hillary Clinton, to me, when I told you this earlier, and we had this show last time, Courtney, when we talked about that, there's things that we didn't hear. Okay, and I think Hillary Clinton got a bad deal. Remember, I was talking about how she got the bad deal right there. Okay, and everybody kept saying the double standard didn't count, and that she was under investigation. And I told you about that before. If you believe in the Constitution that you held President Barack Obama to, and your Second Amendment rights, you talk about the Constitution, because you don't get to go in and choose what Constitution you want to follow or what law you want, okay? But there again, as I said earlier, under the Constitution, you are innocent until proven guilty by a group of your peers, okay? That means your peers have to sit down. In the old days, the wagon train sit down, they picked the adults, they had a jury, okay? If you're not going to put her in trial and the FBI say she's not guilty, get off of it. She's not guilty, walk away. Because if you're going to have that double standard, as I said again, when a police shooting or something come up and the FBI say that officer did what he had to do and he's not guilty, how you going to look Black Lives Matters and everybody else in the face and talking about they did an good investigation, but you won't even honor the investigation that they did somewhere else, okay? And some of the candidates talked about that. And it shocked me that the libertarians who really said that Hillary was the best candidate, he really said that, and I want you to understand that Bill Welch was not joking when he said this. And you know I'm with her, so it's coming in tonight all the way up until the poll closed. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to put the form out there. So it's coming tonight. And this is the double standard and the raw deal that the Libertarian vice president was talking about.
But I have made plain my view of the two candidates, and frankly, I think Mrs. Clinton recently has been receiving a pretty raw deal from people trying to fan the flames that there's some huge FBI new investigation of her email server, and there are obviously Republican members of Congress who are in that hunt. It does appear that there may be some disgruntled FBI agents.
Now you heard what he said. FBI agents are giving Donald Trump's campaign information on Hillary Clinton investigation. Come on, people. Fair is fair. Tell me, when is it fair for a law enforcement agency to give somebody information? What if right now you was accused of a crime, pedophile, okay? Let's go to pedophile, okay? Because I'm going to hit back on something, and I'm going to say this. Okay. Let's go to being a pedophile. You're accused of being a pedophile, okay? Donald Trump is in court right now under a federal lawsuit for engaging in a sexual relationship with a 13-year-old girl. Tell me what news media told you that.
None of them.
Okay, go to the federal court docket, and the judge did not treat Donald Trump as if he was guilty. He set the case back to December 16th after the election and put a gag order on the prosecutor and all of Donald Trump's lawyers, okay? And he did that for one reason, so it would not interfere in Donald Trump's chances to run for president, okay? You didn't hear that, okay? You didn't see them do Hillary like that. So what if a police officer or the FBI went to CNN and said, hey, Donald Trump's got a lawsuit for engaging in sexual relationship with a 13-year-old, okay? What person viewing me right now, and I'm going to ask this question, and it's too late for you to change your vote, but what person right now that has a 13-year-old daughter, whether she lying or not, come to you and say, Daddy, this man had sex with me. You gonna say it's okay because he running against Hillary Clinton and she put emails out? Come on, let's get real. Let's be for fair. Let's get real right now. What's the name of the show, Covenant?
Stop the madness. Keep it 100.
Right, we're gonna keep it 100. Let's get real, okay? That's a real lawsuit in federal court. We ain't heard nothing about it. But we heard about Hillary's emails. We heard about Bill Clinton, okay? And I'm going to go back to that. Bill Clinton had a sexual relationship, had an affair on his wife. And we're going to hold her responsible because her husband went to bed with another woman. Now, this don't make no sense right here, okay? He cheats on her, but she's responsible. And then they're going to say, oh, well, she threatened the ladies. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if I cheat on my wife and my wife seen one of them women, I do not think she's going to sit down and knit with that woman. I think it's going to be on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Somebody going to get hurt. Okay? So now we're going to hold her because she stood up for her thing. Okay? But let's take that standard right there. Let's take that standard. Okay? That's the standard y'all want to play the cards. Okay, I'm going to play that card with you. The Bible does not say you can have a divorce. Donald Trump has had affairs on his wife. Donald Trump then had 4 different divorces. 14 women came out and accused him of sexual assault. Everybody want to say, oh, that was 30 years ago. When them women came out against Bill Crosby and accused him of sexual assault, I didn't hear one person talking about that was 30 years ago. Come on and be fair. Be fair and stand up and do the right thing, okay? Because if Mayor Jackson or your boss was treating you wrong and holding you to the standard that you're trying to hold Hillary to because she's a woman or because she's a Democrat, it's not fair, because guess what's going to happen here, people? If we allow this standard and this hate to take effect in the United States and in our lives, it's coming back and it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your kids, and it's going to affect everybody around you. You cannot play with the devil without paying a price. You better remember that. You heard it here on Keep It Real. You cannot play with the devil without paying a price, okay? So we're going to hold that standard right there. But we don't even know what their policy is. Courtney, tell me one thing, what's Donald Trump policy? Matter of fact, we're in the chat room.
Has he even said that?
Yeah, wait a minute. Anybody on Facebook in the chat room, I'm going to challenge you right now, and we're going to get some free tickets here. I'm going to challenge you. Take me one policy that Donald Trump said he's going to do, except I'm going to build a wall. It's going to be a great wall, and Mexico going to pay for it. Then he come back and said that you, the taxpayers, going to pay for it. Well, let me tell you this, Courtney. If the taxpayers was going to pay for a wall, guess what? It would already be built.
You don't even want to pay for hospitals to keep mental people. You don't even want to pay for police officers. You don't want to even pay to keep doctors. You don't want to pay to get your trash picked up. You don't want to pay for your water bills. Now, you're going to pay to have a wall built across the whole southern of the United States? Come on. You know that's not going to happen. No. He's selling you a bill of goods, okay? And you sitting there talking it and the hate, okay? I don't mind you picking your candidate, okay? But you talk about Black Lives Matters, and you don't even know what Black Lives Matter is, but we're going to get to that later on in another show, but I'm going to explain it to you. Black Lives Matter is a hashtag. Everybody in cyber world know what a hashtag is. A hashtag is just that. Hash, shines on, stop the madness, keep it 100, okay? That's a hashtag. That don't mean Douglas Archuleta, Tom Taylor, Steve, and everybody else is following me and doing what I'm doing, okay? Remember the town hall, Courtney, we talked about that last week. Right. You have Catholic churches that go under the banner of Black Lives Matters. You have the Revolutionary Communist Party, okay, go under the banner of Black Lives Matters. You have white kids bust in from Oberlin, okay, that go under the banner of Black Lives Matters, okay? So you cannot blame one group because you got anarchists in that group. You got everybody there, okay, under that banner. And nobody is one group. There's no leader, okay? That's like a gang. There's no leader. You got the Bloods, you got the Crips, you got these guys, you got the 105 Hit Boys. There's no leader, okay? So don't put everybody in there. And the same things that I said, remember at the town hall on the violence, Courtney, right. I told Black Lives Matters when they said about the police, what I tell you, there's only about 3% bad police officers. 97% of them go to work and do a hell of a job. And they run into danger while everybody runs away, okay? And I told them that, okay? It works both ways. But if you're going to hold this standard, then it can't happen. And we're going to talk about the community again because issue 32 is a community issue. You know, everybody says, I'm going to come back into that since I went to Black Lives Matter before we get back on the national thing, Courtney.
Come back to that
yeah, we're going to come back to that because before I lose my train of thought. The Cleveland Police Patrolmen Association is an issue on issue 32 right now, and that was a big issue. Now, I'm going to say this. The Cleveland Police Patrolmen Association is a private entity. They can do whatever they want. They have the right to do whatever they want, whenever they want to do it. But they have to understand that they represent the men and women of the Cleveland Police Department who work for the community. Right. The community is your boss, okay? So I'm going to say this. How can you come to me, the community, and I'm saying that we having a problem and you don't want to sit down at the table and we ain't talked as adults, and then you're going to ask me today to give you $83 million to keep your job. Now, let's go back to this if you my next door neighbor, because I'm going to break it down to you, and we're going to do a little school here. If I'm your next door neighbor, and I'm walking on your nice, clean grass, and you keep telling me, Sean, stay off my grass, and I keep riding my car up on there looking at you like, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care about you. Then I'm going to come back next week because, hey, I just got fired, and my house note is due, and I'll come and say, hey, can you loan me $700? And I give it back to you. I didn't mean to come on your grass. Okay? You know what you're going to look at? All the time you on my grass and treating me like this. And now you're going to come to that. That's how the community feels, okay? And I was in a town hall, and I posted it for a reason because I wanted everybody to know how the citizens of the city of Cleveland felt when they got smacked in the face, even though there was a disagreement of police action, okay? And I stand with the officers on their actions on some of them. Some of them's questionable. Some of it was they did what they had to do, so I'm not going to even get into that, okay? But when there was a problem, everybody should sit down, and when you went to the community, you live in a Democrat community, you live in a community that's 90% minorities, okay, and you're going to smack them in the face, you're going to back
a person that they think is racist, and then you're going to come and ask them for some money. Well, guess what the community said at that town hall? And I posted out. The community said, okay, that they're willing to let the criminals have the city of Cleveland and put it on the sheriff's department before they give the police department any money. Right. Okay, so you know what that translates to? To all the city of Cleveland employees that's slapping hands and smacking people on the back. You know what that translates to? That translates to back to 2010. I'm going to even go back further for you. It translates back to 2004 when they cut the auto theft unit, when they cut the mounting unit, all the specialized units, when they gut the police department, and they laid off close to 400 to 500 police officers. And we have never recovered from that, okay? Right. Now, tonight, our city has to make a decision, and a close decision. Are we going to sit down as adults and talk instead of calling each other's names? And are we going to sit down and give our city a chance to survive, okay? Because guess what? To all the officers on the Cleveland Police Department, half of them moved out the city, so they don't have a say-so, okay, on issue 32. Right. You're going to pay for issue 32, but you don't have a say-so on it. And at that town hall, it was real live because the chief told them that if they didn't get the service that they thought they deserved, he would resign, okay? That's what the chief told them. So we're going to talk about issue 32 later because we talked about that last show. But we're going to get back to the national thing because right now it's 7 o'clock. You got 30 minutes to get out of your house and go to the polls. For you Bernie Sanders supporters, I want to tell you this. This is not the time for no protest vote. I'm not telling you who to vote for because I really don't care who you vote for, okay? But what I'm telling you is this is not the time for a protest vote. So if you want to protest, that's fine. My voice is being heard around the web. My voice right now is being heard on internet radio, XM. My voice is being heard by thousands. I have a platform, and I'm going to use my platform to advance my community and to work for my community and my kids and my people and the people of America. So I'm going to talk about issues. I'm going to push it out there. I'm not a right-wing station. I'm not a left-wing station. I'm telling you, we're going to do it, and we're going to keep it straight, okay? That's why I haven't opened up the phone lines. We're going to keep it straight. This is a LLC, Licensed Liability Web Company. This is not just a web show. We are a LLC licensed web company. We're going to be here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to let our voice be heard. It is 7 o'clock right now, Eastern Standard Time. The polls do not close to 7:30. Get up, get out of your house, go to the polls and vote. Let your voice be heard. Do not let your kids' future be dictated by somebody else. I don't care if you don't even vote for the president. Vote for your local races. Vote for your judges. Vote for the people that's going to affect you the most. Who's going to make laws in your cities, who's going to tax your cities, who's going to hurt you the most is going to what's happening in the state of Ohio. Washington, you're not going to see Donald Trump. You're not going to see Hillary Clinton. No. If you dial 911, Hillary Clinton ain't coming to your front door. A police officer is. So you better vote for issue 32, and you better get out and vote. Issue 32 is for you. Even if you hate Steve Loomis, fine, hate him. But do not put your community and your kids at jeopardy. Do not affect your kids' schools, okay? Mm-hmm. Steve Loomis lives in North Homestead. Steve Loomis has over a $60,000 a year job with the Cleveland Police Department. You're paying him. You can't take him out of his job. You can't stop him from being the president of the CPPA. But you can help promote your community. You can get your schools together, and you can help the kids that need help, the elderly people that need help. You can do that, okay? If you want police reform, there's a way to do police reform. I got people coming on, and we're going to talk police reform. I did police reform with the judges 2 years ago, and I can tell you right now, I know hardcore police reforms. So we can talk about that, but do not throw your community away
because you mad over something that somebody else did, especially somebody that don't have no effects of your life whatsoever. Go out and vote for issue 32, and let's improve the city of Cleveland. Let's improve our services. Let's put more ambulances and EMTs out on the street. Let's put more firehouse and firemen on the street. Let's put more police officers on the street, and let's give them the equipment they deserve and need. You Bernie Sanders supporter, I have not forgotten you Bernie Sanders supporter, okay? Bernie Sanders supporters, this is not a time for a protest vote. And I'm keep telling you this. There's no way that you can vote for anybody because at this point in time, nobody else believe in what you believe in except Bernie and Hillary. And this is Bernie last night talking himself.
$1 million. Why? Why is it that when you turn on the TV and you see an ad coming from some group you have never heard of, which is funded by billionaires, what do they want? What do the Koch brothers stand for? We don't see this on television very much. What they believe is that government should play a very, very, very limited role in our society. What that means in practical terms, from the Koch brothers' perspective, and remember, these are the guys who are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into this campaign. What they believe is that Social Security shouldn't be cut, should be eliminated. They don't believe that Medicare and Medicaid should be cut. They believe that those programs should be eliminated. And here's something else that they believe. At a time when Citizens United has undermined American democracy and allowed folks like the Koch brothers and large corporations to pour unlimited sums of money into the political process. Do you know what the Koch brothers believe? They think, as does the Republican leadership in Congress, that Citizens United has not gone far enough. Citizens United says that if you're a corporation or you're sitting here and you're a billionaire, you can now spend as much money as you want on independent expenditures. Tomorrow, you could start some organization, Citizens for a Better New Hampshire, whatever it is, pour unlimited amounts of money. For the Koch brothers, that's not good enough. You know what they want? They want billionaires to be able to directly contribute to a candidate, to say, you want to run for Senate from New Hampshire, here is a check for $50 million. You work for me. You are my employee. Now, one of the differences between Secretary Clinton and Mr. Trump is Secretary Clinton has said she will not nominate anyone to the Supreme Court unless that individual is prepared to be public in saying he or she will vote to overturn Citizens United. Mr. Trump has said that he will nominate a Supreme Court candidate who will continue what has gone on in the past and what the majority wants, which is to continue Citizens United. But of the crises that we face, the decline of American democracy and the ability of billionaires to buy elections, that's only one of the issues. The other issue is that we have a economy which in a very significant way is rigged. Now, here in New Hampshire, you should be very proud. As a result of the work of Governor Hassan and others, you have the lowest unemployment rate in the United States of America. That's a big deal. And median family income is going up. That's a big deal. But here is another truth, that despite that, and despite the fact that today in this country we are much better off than we were 8 years ago when Bush left office, despite all of that, we still continue to have a grotesque level of income and wealth inequality. Let's put it on the table. How many people here think that it is a good idea that the top 1/10 of 1% owns as much wealth as the bottom 90%? All right, got to put it out on the table. Can't deal with it unless we put it out on the table. How many people?
Okay, now that's Bernie Sanders right there. And you hear what Bernie Sanders is saying. How many people in America got the money? 1%, okay, 1%.
if you're not part of that 1%, why are we fighting? Okay? Why are we not sitting together holding hands? Why are we allowing hate to separate us? Okay? The Democrat platform is protecting workers' rights, an economy that works for everybody, and investing in good jobs. Now, during the debates, and we're going to really go to the debates, but before we go to the debate thing, Courtney, I just love this one. Courtney, before we go to the debate thing, let's hear Donald Trump in his own words. I just want to play this.
To give the FBI credit, that was so bad what happened originally, and it took guts for Director Comey to make the move that he made in light of the kind of opposition he had, where they're trying to protect her from criminal prosecution. You know that. It took a lot of guts. I really disagreed with him. I was not his fan, but I'll tell you what he did, he brought back his reputation. He brought it back. He's got.
Now, you see what he's saying right there, Courtney?
I have to give the.
That's what he's talking about, okay? Name calling, personal talk, reputation. Nobody's talking about issues. To be fair, we're going to go on the other side right here. As I told you, we're going to keep it real, and I'm going to keep it fair.
Now they apparently want to look at emails of one of my staffers, and by all means, they should look at them. And I am sure they will reach the same conclusion they did when they looked at my emails for the last year. There is no case here. And they said it wasn't even a close call, and I think most people have decided a long time ago what they think about all of this. Now what people are focused on is choosing the next president and commander-in-chief of the United States of America.
Okay, now, did you hear any policy on that one? No policy whatsoever from Hillary or Donald, because we are not requiring them to talk about what affects us and what we do. The Republican platform, I'm going to put this out here for you right now on the Republican platform. The Republican platform is the right to work state, okay? If you're in a union right now, they want to take your union away, okay? Senate Bill 5 all over with, okay? They want to increase taxes. They want to appoint judges to overturn Roe versus Wade. I don't care what you're standing on or where you stand. Everybody has a right to make decisions, and women has the right to do what they want to do, okay? Nobody should be telling them that. That's what your constitutional right said. Again, as I told you, the 15th Amendment, the chat room is really blowing up, and somebody talked about the 15th Amendment. The 15th Amendment was not written for people of color, okay? I'm going to keep it real. The 15th Amendment was done in 1776, and at that time, they seen people of color as property, okay? So don't listen to what I'm telling you. Don't listen to what Facebook telling you. Go do your own reading at the library. Facebook is not the library. Go pick up a book and read, okay? 1890, when the 15th Amendment was amended by President Lincoln to give everybody the right to vote. And if you don't know how that came about, the North was losing the Civil War. So the North put out a call to slaves and said, if you come and fight with us and help us win this war, we will guarantee you your freedom. You will no longer be property. Okay? So let's keep it real. Let's talk about it. Let's say it. If we need a race talk, let's talk. Don't hide your head. Everybody has their hands dirty, okay? Nobody is clean in this election. Nobody is clean on this earth, okay? The only person that was here clean, he went home with the Father. So stop calling people nasty names. Stop holding people to standards that you don't want to be held to yourself. Okay? The gospel of the Bible says good news to the poor. That's what you're supposed to be helping. Okay? And I don't believe any Republican right now can stand for me, and even at the town hall, I said this, and I'm going to say this again. If you're Republican, I have a problem that you're going to stand with a man that's in federal court right now being sued for having a sexual relationship with a 13-year-old girl, and you're going to say that's okay, because that happened a long time ago. That's a child. That's a pedophile. Then you're going to say that Hillary had a Muslim terrorist father sitting behind her, but guess what? The next day, Donald Trump had the pedophile sitting behind him. Okay? He got a pedophile sitting behind him, and he's in federal court right now being sued for having a sexual relationship with a 13-year-old girl. And we're not talking about this. We're talking about emails. Okay? Emails. But then you're going to go to church on Sunday and you're going to stand there talking about how you're going to worship somebody, but then you're going to come out here and put people under double standards. That don't work that way.
That's the two standard gander.
That's a two standard. It don't work that way. We're going to have to keep it real right there. And we haven't heard one policy, okay? So everybody going to the polls right now, and they're voting, and they haven't heard one policy. I put down all of Donald Trump's rallies, all their rallies. If lock her up was a good policy, maybe I'll be a millionaire right now. You know how many people I locked up? Okay? I didn't get, hey, maybe I missed out somewhere, okay? But policy, what's going to affect you? Here go another one of his rallies. Again, I employ anybody on Facebook that's and I said this to the chat room's blowing up. If you're a Republican, give me one policy Donald Trump has said he's going to do that's going to make your life better. And I'm going to come back at you, so don't think you can sneak something across here and say it because I'm looking at the chat room. I'm going to come back at you, okay? But here goes his next one that we're going to play at one of his rallies.
This is the biggest political scandal since Watergate. And it's everybody's deepest hope that justice, at last, will be beautifully delivered. Hillary has nobody but herself to blame for her mounting legal difficulties. Her criminal action was willful, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. Hillary set up an illegal server for the obvious purpose of shielding her criminal conduct from public disclosure and exposure. She set up this illegal server knowing full well that her actions put our national security at risk and put the safety and security of your children and your families at risk.
Okay, that's the policy of fear. Okay, the policy of fear. Again, there's no policy there. And there go again the double standard. Okay, the FBI said she wasn't guilty. The FBI said she didn't do anything. Put her on trial. Bring the emails out and do it the right way, the way the Constitution says it should be done. You are innocent until proven guilty by a group of your peers. But that's not policy, folks. That's not going to take care of your family. And here go Hillary.
When you are sworn in as president, you take an oath. You take an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. And listening to Donald Trump's campaign, I truly doubt that he has ever read the Constitution. Or if he did, back in school, he certainly doesn't remember it, and he doesn't understand. It is the most important founding document for the longest lasting, greatest democracy in the history of the world.
Now, there again, and now here again, no policy. Where's the policy? We're going to the polls to vote for the next president of the United States, and we haven't heard no policy on both sides. This is crazy. Who's going to ensure my kid has a future? I don't want to hear about emails. Donald Trump sounds like a 5-year-old giving a book report that he never read. Come on, people. Are we serious? Are you really serious about this? I hope you are. The polls close in another 15 minutes. I hope that everybody thought about what they was going to do and what they was going to vote on. We're going to go to the, Courtney, we're going to go to the debates. And this was really crazy, okay? From the debates, the chat room right now, nobody has answered my question. I got a lot of Democrats on there. They're going crazy. My Republican friends, I'm not opening up the phone lines tonight, but my Republican friends, come to the chat room. I know you in the chat room. You're in there every night with me and talking and giving me a good fight. Tell me one policy that Donald Trump has done that you understand and how it's going to be done. Because evidently here, nobody knows that we have 3 separate branches. That's why Barack Obama couldn't do anything. The House do what they do. The Senate do what they do. Then the House got to approve the Senate, and the Senate got to approve the House, and then it has to be approved by the president, okay? So if they don't work together, guess what? We are back in the same situation we in, okay? '08 didn't teach nobody anything. Our economy almost crashed. Our housing market crashed. Our auto market went down. Wall Street was going down. We was almost going back into deep depression, okay? Like it was in the 30s. Maybe we should have went there and everybody lost everything, and then maybe everybody would be sitting here acting like an adult and requiring more. We as voters should be requiring from our president who want to be the commander in chief more. Not talking about emails, not talking about grabbing women, not talking about put her in jail, not talking about that he's an idiot. We need to hear policy. What they're going to do for my kids, my retirement, Social Security. Anybody tell me right now, is Social Security going under, or are they going to make a fund to save Social Security? Debt and entitlement. Here go Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump in their own words.
That's part of my commitment to raise taxes on the wealthy. My Social Security payroll contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund by making sure that we have sufficient resources.
Okay, Hillary gave you a little policy there for Social Security, okay? But she's such a nasty woman, okay? Right there, I have a problem with that. You don't have to disrespect anybody. You know, I lost a lot of friends on Facebook when I started simulcasting on XM and the phone app and doing everything because I don't just do to get along. I speak my mind. Even when I was out in the street, I speak my mind. If you don't like it, or if you know Sean gonna say how he feel, whether you like it or not, and it don't really make me a difference, but I'm gonna say this. But you never have to disrespect a woman, nor do you have to disrespect anybody else. We can disagree, and I don't have to break bread with you, but I do not have to disrespect you. And that only goes to show your character. If you disrespecting somebody, that is your character, nobody else's character. That shows what you're about. You know, you can't hide your head. I've had a lot of black friends get upset because I called them out for failing to do what they're supposed to do. I've had a lot of white friends get upset because of what I say and the way my program is. I speak the truth and I speak to the community issues, okay? I'm not getting paid to speak about anything else. I'm getting paid to do this simulcast and to do everything here and speak to the issue. That's how I get my money, okay? And that's what the way I'm going to do it. On the economy, here on our election show, we're not going to go to break because the polls are getting ready to close. We're waiting for the Honorable Marshall Flood to give us a call if she able to, and we're going to do an interview with her, maybe the last segment of the show. So we're going to try to finish up what we're doing right here.
I personally believe that the steps that President Obama took saved the economy. He doesn't get the credit he deserves for taking some very hard positions. But it was a terrible recession. So now we've dug ourselves out of it. We're standing, but we're not yet running. I personally believe.
Okay, now you heard what she said. She personally believed, okay. But let me tell you this. Our president was totally disrespected. I don't care what anyone says. When he walked into office, he's the first president in the history that had 2 wars. Everything failing. We was losing 750,000 jobs a month. Okay, even if he saved 1 job in the auto market, he did his job. Okay, so give him that credit. Everybody wants to be treated fairly, whether you like him or not. Whether he has your philosophy a lot, you have to say, hey, he took us out of a war and he brought our kids back home. Okay, he didn't just pull people out of Iraq. They wouldn't sign the agreement, and that was under President George Bush. Okay, and I like George Bush. I told you I voted for him. I didn't think Al Gore could be a president for me, so I vote both ways. I think George Bush was a great president. If you look back over me in the studio right here, everybody on XM, that's George Bush right there. Okay, I got George Bush sitting on my desk. Okay, so I want everybody to know I go both ways, and I call it the way I see it. But policy, that's what it is. These two, Clinton is a very astute politician, and I'm sad that she did not talk policy and go high like she was supposed to. Okay, going high is the way it's supposed to be. Donald Trump, I bet you that he's a very good guy, and I bet you that if he gets with the right people, he probably is a gentleman who does not speak the hate the way that he's portraying. It's just that to be where he's at and what he want to do, he allowed the wrong people to stroke his buttons, and he went to take that fight for them, and he stood on that stage. Now, he got to own, okay? He got to own up to that, okay? I told you, your opinion may be different from mine, but he has to own that, okay? And he has to stand up for it. The topic we're going to talk about, they asked about abortion, okay? Now, let's see what they say.
Do you want to see the court overturn Roe
Well,
v.
if
Wade?
we put another 2 or perhaps 3 justices on, that's really what's going to be, that's will happen. And that'll happen automatically, in my opinion, because I am putting pro-life justices on the court. I will say this, it will go back to the states, and the states will then make a determination.
Secretary Clinton.
Well, I strongly support Roe v. Wade, which guarantees a constitutional right to a woman to make the most intimate, most difficult in many cases, decisions about her health care that one can imagine. And in this case, it's not only about Roe v. Wade. It is about what's happening right now in America.
Okay, that's the first time in the debate that those two spoke to a policy issue. I don't want to go to nobody's webpage and talk to them about policy, okay? You should tell me that in the debate. Right now, and I got to go play some, well, we're going to skip the music because we won't be that, but I got to go pay some bills. So we're going to take our first commercial here on Election Day. So stay with us on STMK Radio 100. And thank you for listening, but just hold on. We're going to go pay some bills and we're going to come right back.
Nissan's profit fell by 15% in the third quarter. Sales were strong in North America and China from July through September, but it didn't make up for sluggish demand in Japan and a stronger yen. The Japanese automaker, which manufactures the Nissan, Infiniti, and Datsun brands, says profit in the last quarter was $1.4 billion, down from nearly $1.7 billion a year earlier. Quarterly sales dipped 12% to $26 billion. Nissan recently became the top shareholder in the scandal-plagued Japanese rival Mitsubishi.
The top of the weekly Associated Press college football poll looks a lot like it did last week.
AP's Jack Briggs has a closer look at the schools and their rankings.
The top 6 spots in last week's Associated Press poll are the same in this week's. That means Alabama on top with Michigan second, Clemson third, Washington fourth, Louisville fifth, and Ohio State sixth. Alabama received all but one of the 61 first-place votes, with Michigan getting the other. The Crimson Tide has won 21 straight games dating back to September 19, 2015. The Nick Saban coach squad has won 13 straight from top 25 opponents. This is Jack Briggs.
Did you know you can advertise your company or even your own podcast on the AP Radio Network? You can reach listeners in your home market or across our network spanning 226 countries. Reach listeners on iHeartRadio, Amazon Kindle, AP Mobile, and more. For more information, call Caroline Burns at 212-621-1582 or email sponsorship@ap.org. That's sponsorship@ap.org.
AP Radio News. I'm Rita Foley. We choose a new president today. Polls are opening right now in some states. More than 50 million Americans have already voted. Millions more will do so on this election day, including Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Both will be voting in New York. We talked to voters across the country. Judy Moore is in Arizona.
I voted for Donald Trump. I think the country needs a change. He's a great businessman, and I think he'll do the best job.
In Arizona, Robert Hartman is voting for Hillary Clinton.
I think she just has a better view of where the United States is going.
And then there was Mary Moore Ritchie voting in North Carolina.
I thought this campaign was absolutely disgusting. I've always voted since I was old enough to vote, and I've never seen anything like this.
The centerpiece of Hillary Clinton's final campaign swing was a massive rally on Philadelphia's Independence Mall, where she was joined by her husband, former President Bill Clinton, as well as President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama.
You can stand up to those who seek to divide us and make us afraid. You can declare with one voice that we are always stronger together.
Hillary Clinton has several paths to victory, but Donald Trump has to win most of the 12 or so toss-up states in order to win the White House.
Get your family, get your friends. No matter what you do, you've got to get out and vote.
Donald Trump campaigning in Scranton, Pennsylvania yesterday. Overseas in Iraq, the fight to take back Mosul from the Islamic State group has turned up a mass grave. The militants have executed thousands of people as they run from the only big city in Iraq they still hold. A woman is under arrest in New York for allegedly pushing another woman onto the tracks at the Times Square station. The woman was crushed to death by a subway train. This is AP Radio News.
You've been tuned in to Stop the Madness, keeping it 100 on STMK Radio 100. And now back to your host one more time, Shawnell, Let, and Tone the Star.
Okay, we back live in the Studio 51, and it's 7:30. The polls are closed. Everybody start looking right now. By 8:30, we should start knowing the results. The report should be coming in, and by 9 o'clock, we're going to have a new president of the United States. If it's Donald Trump, I want everybody to make a pledge to work with him, and let's stop all the hate, and let's make America great. My pick, and I already said it again, I'm with her. I hope it is Hillary Clinton, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be our next president. As I said yesterday, and the chat room went up over this when we went back into the chat room. Courtney, remember that? I said, women made a big mistake, and we're going to give you a chance to correct this and make it right, okay? So, I'm with her. We fired up, and we ready to go, and we're stronger together. So, we're going to correct Eve's mistake, and we're going to make it right. So that's what we're going to do right here. We're going to go for the last half hour right here. Honorable Marsha Fudge may be giving us a call into the studio. We are broadcasting live from Studio 51 here in Cleveland, Ohio on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. You can see us on Facebook Live, Twitter, Instagram, internet radio. You can hear us being simulcast, and you can see us also on live TV on Ustream. If you're on Facebook right now, go to STMK Radio 100's Facebook page and click on that link and come into the studio with us. We have a lot going on, and it's going to be the #1 web show in the Cleveland area. We are a LLC company, and we're going to be here for a while. We have partnered with Kickback Entertainment. We're going to reach out to the kids and young artists, the old Caramoo House and the old All City program, and we're going to try to start it back up for our kids and give our kids something to do. Personally, right here, I want to say this because I'm in my hometown, that I have a platform. I'm going to use this platform to push our issues that we need and that we want, and we're going to improve our relationship with our police officers, because we have a lot of great ones out there that really wants to work with the community and do the job that they've been doing for years and make this community safe. And I want the community to reciprocate back to them and give them the equipment they need and pass issue 32. We're going to come right here to our local issues right now, and we're going to bring it home. Courtney, what's going on over there? Tell them about some of the issues that we have in over there.
Okay, here we go. One of the big issues is that the community feels the police is not respecting them and is willing to have a layoff. And what signal is the police union sending? This here is something everyone needs to be paying close attention to. Because without this tax increase, the city of Cleveland must cut $40 million a year, which means mass cuts in service and layoffs of hundreds of vital employees.
Well, hold up right there, Courtney, because you know what? We talked about that earlier, about the CPPA and their Trump endorsement. As I said before, they are a private entity. They have the right to do whatever they want to do. But I go back to my thing. The men and women of the Cleveland Police Department works for the community, okay? Everybody should think about that. They work for the community, okay? So the community has to look past the CPPA and work with the police officers, okay?
All right.
The union, that's only City Hall. It doesn't matter who they pick, as I told everybody. Normally we pick the wrong people anyway. So I don't think the community should get upset because a couple of police officers in the union want to pick Donald Trump, okay? That's fine. But the men and women of the police department are your employees. You can't get mad at your employees. You can't throw your employees away. Who's going to handle the 911 calls? Are we going back to the old days? Because if we're going back to the old days, guess what? Everybody go to the gun shop and strap on your gun. And guess what? We go back uno. Wide Earth Day. Let's go back to it if that's what you want. Okay, but we have men and women that are placing their life on the line, that they have kids, they have families they're taking care of. It is not proper to put their lives on hold over an issue. Please go out and vote for issue 32 to give the men and women of the Cleveland Police Department the equipment they need, the training they need, and the personnel they need to do the job. Give them the olive branch. Take the high road, okay? You would tell Steve Loomis and everybody who voted for Trump that you don't like what they did. You're going to speak about what they did, but you're going to take the high road and you're going to take care of your community and you're going to take care of your employees and you're going to give them what they need to work with. And for anybody on the police force who feels that they cannot reach out to the community, then maybe you need to take your equipment to 601 Lakeside, drop it on the steps and keep on stepping, okay? Because you are only as good as the weakest person on that police force, okay? So if you're not going to get anything special if you don't help the community. So in the community, you got to put that olive branch out there for them. And that's on issue 32 right now. Issue 32 for the people who should have went to vote, the polls are closed, was a income tax increase from 2% to 2.5%. And it would have raised $83.5 million. Okay, and the city really needs it. I'm going to tell you right now, the city needs the money. They just went through 3 layoffs. Okay, there are 500 police officers short. The guys that are out there overworked, can't get a break, and you hold them to standards that they just can't meet. I'm going to say it, okay? I'm not talking about anybody, but you hold them to standards that they can't meet. So you're going to have to help them improve their training. You're going to have to help them improve with equipment, and you're going to have to help them to help you to take care of your community and to protect your family. So reach out that olive branch to the police department and forget about any divisions that you may have, because your first responders are real, true heroes, and they're not here to hurt you. And it's only 3% of bad police officers. So I'm not going to sit here and say there's no bad police officers. I'm not going to say that you're not going to have no run-in with a police officer that gives you a bad taste in your mouth. But what I am going to tell you is he is a very short few. There are many great ones out there, and they show it every day. The revenue cut from the red light program and the state's cuts, and everybody, they say, well, you know, the Dems been running the cities for 100 years. Okay, but the state legislator and the state government has cut so much fundings to the cities that they're trying to grab money anywhere. And you remember back Cleveland went to the red light program. That was a violation of everybody's rights, but they was allowed to do it until the voters stood up and voted it out. Okay, now we have a big revenue problem for our general fund. And our streets, trash, and services is being affected by it, okay? Some of these streets look like they're in the third world. I mean, just say it the way it is. But the mayor has said that if you pass issue 32, he's going to hire more police officers, more firefighters, more EMTs. He's going to get them more better equipment, state-of-the-art equipment. We're yelling about no ambulance coming out to our house and they coming in SUV, but we ain't giving them nothing. But you think they're going to come in.
Right.
Okay? If you don't give it to them, then how are they going to help you? We're yelling about police officers coming 30 to 40 minutes late to runs. Well, when you 500 police officers short, you ain't giving them the cars. The radio's going down. They don't have no communication for hours. Okay? What you seen for the NRC, that was just dog and pony show, okay? Everybody got slapped on the back and they did good, but that's dog and pony. That's not everyday service, okay? So what you think's going to happen if you don't give them the equipment to work with? The mayor also says that he's going to start up leave collection, and more snow crews are going to be out, and he's going to do a lot with it. But on the drawback, and I put this out the other day, Courtney, remember I put that up when we was at the round table.
At that round table,
right?
Yes.
That the mayor said if he doesn't get issue 32, issue 32 passed, there's going to be major cuts. And he's telling you this, major cuts. He's going to lay off. Do not think that they ain't. In 1981, when Mayor Voinovich said if you didn't pass his tax hike, he was going to lay off, he laid off.
Yes, he did.
Okay. In 2004, Jane Campbell, when she said if she didn't get the money, she was going to lay off, she laid off. That's why the city's 500 police officers short. Okay. 2008, layoff. 2010, layoff. Now, on top of that, the community's upset, Courtney, as we said before, as they said in the thing, the community's upset for the way the police officers and the police union is responding to their needs and what they're talking to. As I said, everybody got to sit down like adults and handle that situation right there. What's up, James Casey? We broadcasting live on XM Radio. We simulcasting on Facebook, Instagram, and I would like for you to go to STMK Radio 100's Facebook page and click on the link and come into our live TV stream and watch us live in the studio. Other issues that is out there, Courtney, what's that other one they was talking about?
Issue 108.
What is issue 108 about, Courtney?
Well, issue 108 is just a renew of a bond. What to watch for tonight? The judges endorsed by safety forces, candidates running against judges for police reform. So the big issue is the GOP candidates running on change and police reform, and demos that didn't do police reform. So
Yeah, that's a big issue. And the number one, the one that you need to look at, the first race you need to look at to see what type of reform is coming,
right.
is Judge McDonald. He handled the Brelo shooting. He's trying to go to the Supreme Court. That's going to be the first casualty to look for.
All right.
Earlier, the casualty was the prosecutor. They changed the prosecutor out. And there's a couple of judges is running. What other issues on there? What judges is running?
Let's see. Court of Appeals. We had Mary Eileen Kilbane, Melody J. Stewart, Kathleen Ann Koff, Eileen A. Gallagher, Court of Common Pleas, Kellyanne Gallagher, Steve Gall, Michael D. Donnelly, Peter J. Corrigan, Sherry Midday, David T. Mattia, Maureen Clancy, John J. Russo, Holly Lauren Gallagher, Michael Shaughnessy, Andrea Nelson Moore, and Brian J. Corrigan. Now, on domestic relations, Francine Goldberg, Diane M. Palos, and Tanya R. Jones. And on the juvenile side, Michael John Ryan, Kristen W. Sweeney,
We broadcast and simulcasting live on the radio.
and Patrick F.
If
Corrigan.
you go to STMK Radio 100 Facebook page, click on the Ustream link and come right into the studio with us, and you can see us
If
live.
you have any
and
more
hear
on the
everything that's
judges
going on.
and prosecutors. Well, he already told you about Ohio Supreme Court judges.
Right,
with Johnny
McDonald.
O'Donnell and Cynthia Rice.
Now, and I
Rice.
hope everybody really took their judges seriously and read what they were offering, because those are going to be the judges that are running to do police reform. So the attitudes are going to be changed right there when they start changing the attitudes around for police reform. So you need to understand that. Secondly, coming up is for the judges. One, Michael Ryan is a good judge for juvenile, but the judges on the Ohio Supreme Court, some of them are running for police reform. So that's what you're going to look at for tonight. The polls is closed. Look for those tight races, because you would know if police reform is coming, because you would start seeing the candidates that the community's upset with, that went with the Cleveland Police Patrolmen Association endorsement after they picked Donald Trump, and we're going to see if they go into office. Judge McDonald for the Supreme Court will be the first one that everybody needs to look at. Issue 32, as I already talked about many times already on issue 32 for the local issues here in Cleveland, Ohio, is that if issue 32 failed to pass, a lot of police officers may be furloughed. Do the community really wants that? That's what you have to ask yourself. Are you really, really going to punish your community because the police union picked Donald Trump to back? I hope everybody thought about that. Courtney, the other issue that we wanted to go down is issue 108, the issue for the schools. Before we do that, we was going to take a break, but we're going to not take the break. This is STMK Radio 100. Stop the Madness, Keep It Real show with your host, Sean L. We're being broadcast and simulcast on internet radio through XM. We're on Facebook Live. We also being shown on Instagram, Twitter. You can contact us at stmkradio100.com. You also can drop us a line at stmkradio100 at aol.com. We do shows. We do advertisement. The station does a lot. It's an LLC web radio station, black owned. So show us your love and support. We won't be able to simulcast every day on Facebook, but my show is Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., and you can catch it live on Ustream through your app or your telephone. So, Courtney, let's go back right here to this situation because it's getting that time right there where 108 is for our kids. I hope everybody voted for issue 108. We need good teachers. We need our kids educated. As I told you earlier about the history of our community, of people of color, we need to start teaching our kids their history so they can understand the price that was paid for everybody to get there. As I said, I have a platform and I have a voice. And I'm going to use my platform and this voice to further my community and to help out our kids. And I want you to join aboard with me and assist me in doing that. Courtney, tell them about our show a little bit.
All right, our basic show as we're coming up back here. Here we go. All right. STMK Radio. Stop the madness. Keep it 100. Okay, we're coming back in. All right, we're there. All right. It's a talk show mainly. And the thing is, we invite you to come to the chat rooms, put up what you feel, and when you do that, give us a little reason why you feel the way that you do. Because that's very important, because that can help some of these other situations get somewhat straightened out. At least we can all start
Thank you for joining us.
understanding each other.
I was talking about
Or at least,
the other day
give
on
it
our
a try.
sports talk show. You did a great singing of the national anthem, and we're gonna have that as soon as the Browns orchestra release that back around. You did a good job. I'm proud of you. Now, I was just talking Facebook Live. If you're on Facebook Live, please go to STMK Radio 100 webpage and click on the link for Ustream and come right into the studio with us and see us live. And you can hear everything we do, see everything we do. And some of the stuff you can't hear on Facebook Live because the studio speakers are not up or on at the time. 108, you remember there was a school program called All City. And that was an after school program where the kids went and learn the arts. 108, issue 108 will bring that program back. And we really need to get our kids into the programs to teach them the better things. If we don't teach them and give them something to do, then the streets will. And everybody has to understand this. When I go back to issue 32 again, and I really was on that, is that when we took the police officers out of the community and closed the mini stations, and we took them out of the schools, what did we think was going to happen? Okay, we took them out of the parks. We let our kids fend for themselves, and of course, the devils and gangs are going to come in where we vacate the void. So you have to think about that. Issue 108 would solve a little bit of that problem. It would give us a place to put our kids after school, give them some training in the arts, put them down at the Playhouse Square, teach them how to play instruments. So there's a lot to do right there for that issue 108. The polls are closed. If you stay on with us, if you're listening to our simulcast, you're going to go right in to Urban View election coverage for the night. I don't think it's going to be a long night to find out who's going to win. And it's not going to be like Bush versus Gore, where we're not going to have a president for 7 days. I think the people of America is going to make their voice very, very strong. Hey, Barb Harbor, thanks for joining us on Facebook Live. As I said, go to STMK Radio 100 Facebook page. Click on that link, and you can see us live on your iPhone, your computer. We are on the phone app, for Androids and iPhones. We broadcasting live on Ustream TV, and we also simulcasting. We just got into the Cleveland market last week. We are in 19 markets. We have family in Atlanta, Orlando, San Francisco, LA, Washington, and New York. And I want to do a shout out to New York to our girl Jennifer Williams, who was just promoted captain of the NYPD, and she's moving on up the ladder. Jen, I told you I was going to say hi and give you that shout out. Also, I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine that came on Facebook Live, Kennedy Jones. If you watch the Cleveland Browns, that was the man standing at 50-yard line that sang the national anthem. And I'm going to have to say this, people. He made Marvin Gaye and Whitney Houston go 1-2 because he is now the number one person. I put that video up, and we're going to put it on our web site also so you can hear Kennedy Jones sing the national anthem. And I'm going to have to sign him because he's going out number one, and he's going to go some high places. And he is one of our heroes and our first responder. So everybody, it's coming to that time. I hope you took the time to go vote. I hope you took it very seriously. I hope that tonight, when this election is over with, because somebody told me at the election thing, and I'm going to say this before I leave, they said, wow, this is finally over, and I can see light at the end of the tunnel. And me, I looked at him because I'm off my meds, Barb. I'm off my meds. I said, we're here in the tracks in the tunnel. We better make sure that's not a train. And I'm telling you that right now, that the end of the tunnel, there's light coming. Everybody join together, hold hands, and let's make this a better place to live. Let's stop all the name calling on Facebook. Let's clean up social media. Let's stop spreading the false stories. Let's make social media what it was truly meant to be, an information and a place where grown-ups can come and talk about issues and let everybody know what's going on without all the arguing and name-calling and the hatred. Let's clean up our groups, and let's stick together as one. And Courtney, come on, tell them something. We got that young artist program coming up, but I want you to tell them something. Everybody in the chat room blowing up, and they saying Courtney isn't saying enough. Courtney, say something. Let them know that you're here with me.
Oh, we're here. The thing is, we try to make sure everything is still running, no matter what happens.
Right, we got to keep it up.
We're gonna keep it going. We want to let them know about what's happening with STMK Radio 100 as partnered with Kickback Records to introduce new emerging artists. Now you can showcase your talent on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. Or there's going to be a new show that we got called New Emerging Artist Show. Now, calling into the show during our regular broadcast to tell us about yourself or the group. You may also be put on Facebook Live, Twitter, and Instagram while your interview is being done. Sending us a video or audio recording that will be aired on New Emerging Artist Show, which may be played live on internet, TV, and radio. We also have in-person interviews of yourself or your group. You can let us know about your event, and we will pass the date, time, and venue to our listeners. If you're picked by Kickback Records panel, you will get free studio time and they'll help you put out your first CD.
And we're going to do that for our kids. But
Man,
Courtney,
big is big, I can't lose. She can bow down, I'm the next to rule, but I'ma stay on the cool, remain on the under, cause like Andre 3000, your boy's ice cold. Ain't no limit to the gimmicks.
almost that time for us to sit back. We're broadcasting live, Studio 51. That's Shotty Mac, a rapper out of the city of Cleveland. Listen to him.
I don't give them, and never gave them, I'm just living it up. No, I hold it down, baby, because I'm certified G. I'm just living it up. The money can't go with me, so I'm spending it up.
Ain't no problem, still loving, living comfortably.
Never giving it up, I made it all on my own, you ain't getting above.
Shawty got it live with the players from K16.
Yes.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Courtney, say bye to our people.
We back in good. All right, be safe. Have good health. Definitely need some good health with this stuff that's going on now. Hopefully we can get all this stuff cleaned up. And stay positive.
This is your host, Chanel. Remember what I tell you before I leave the air all the time. Be good. And if you can't be good at it. This is your host. Peace, love, and happiness. Until I see you again, stay well.
You've been listening to Stop the Madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100.